Oh my goodness. And there it is. Wow, get the to go.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Bowl TV for coverage of the 2021 PWBA Summer Classic Series as we kick off things today with the Go Bowling Classic, the first of 3 national tour stops over the course of the next 6-7 days here from the International Training and Research Center in Arlington, Texas. My name is Aaron Smith, and we'll be joined by the rest of the Bowl TV team in just a second. But we're getting ready for A Squad, so they're getting their warm-up time in right now. They're going to be hitting the lanes for their 9-game qualifying block. B Squad will be on the lanes a little bit later today for their 9 games and our 43-foot condition being used for the Go Bowling Classic. 56 players total in the field, so 28 on each squad. So we're going to move pretty quick throughout the course of these 9 games, but let's before we head out to the lanes, let's meet the team here who is going to be bringing you the action throughout the course of the day. We'll start off just a couple of feet away from me here in the Bowl TV studio. Matt Candizzaro, there he is. Matt, how you doing this morning?
Good, Aaron Smith. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm getting ready. We had some great practice sessions, a lot of great talk yesterday as we got to see both the pattern for the Go Bowling Classic and the International Bowling Campus Classic. But very excited to see this 43-foot condition. Thinking we might see some high scores as things develop. But for the man on the scene, though, let's bring in Curtis von Kruger, who's only a 3-minute walk away, but on site at the ITRC. Curtis, good morning.
So close, yet so far away, Aaron Smith. Hey, it's a wonderful morning. We get to watch some great bowling. I have some incredible players just feet away from me, and it's very cool. Dasha Kovalova, Verity Crawley, Alexis Nair. It's going to be a good time. 43-foot pattern. So far, the strategy looks to be very much in line with what we saw yesterday. Tons of balls got drilled yesterday. I'm talking a lot of equipment got drilled yesterday. You see a lot of polish on the lane, a lot of polish on the rack right now. So not pretty much no urethane. I mean, everybody's gonna be throwing reactive this pattern, with maybe an exception here or there, but I don't think there will be. So let's get it kicked off.
Well, that opening pair you talked about sounds so enticing. Let's watch them as they kick competition off. So we are going to head to lanes 11 through 14 over on bowltv.com. You do have access to every pair in play, so you can watch your favorite athlete throughout the course of the entire block. We also have this main commentary channel available. So 5 total channels available to watch from the ITRC, the home of Team USA in Arlington, Texas. So we'll get Alexis Nair to kick things off for us here in game number 1. For those of you watching with us on Facebook and YouTube, we will be here for game number 1 before we go ahead and send everything to bowltv.com. So sneak peek to kick off your day. Great way to start off. What's today? Today feels like a Wednesday. Is today Wednesday?
It is Wednesday, the 4th of August. My anniversary is in 4 days.
Wow, Curtis, between your birthday happening in Junior Gold and your anniversary happening on the PWBA Tour, you're hitting all the holidays this year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, not home for any of them. But you know what? A consolation prize is a cup of coffee and great bowling. So I'm ready to go. Diana Z getting up on lane 12. We'll see how she starts her day. Interested to see how this line. Oop, it looks like she got that in. And, of course, a 3-pin.
But 3-pin? That's not too bad. We'll take that to start.
Yeah,
easy makeable.
Easy makeable. Easy makeable. I felt like, after doing Junior Gold, one thing came at a premium and could not go overstated. Pick up your spares, folks. Come on. Pick up your spares. You should be dedicating at least 50% of your practice to spare shooting. And honestly, I would say 60% of your practice should be dedicated to shooting spares. Because you can't get too good at it. So, and I expect not this. I think you're gonna have to strike a lot, like you said, Aaron. You're gonna have to strike a lot on this pattern. But as we move into the shorter pattern next event, so to speak, I think spares are going to be coming at a premium, and they are going to be the deciding factor in who makes the show and who doesn't.
Excellent points. And with that, we're going to go full screen. So we're going to go away so you get to watch all the action up close. Joining us here on lanes 11 through 14. To kick things off, we're going to have Ashley Galante, Taylor Boltice, Diana Zavyalova, and Lindsay Boomershine over on 11 and 12. And over on 13 and 14, Alexis Nyer, Jody Scherer, Verdi Crawley, and Dasha Kovalova. Taking a look around the house, we'll give you the quick rundown. For those of you watching on Bold TV, if you're looking for a particular player, on our 1 through 4 channel, Daria Payuk, Fania Kobo, Ashley Rucker, and Aaron McCarthy, along with Clara Guerrero, Shalyn Zolkifli, Hannah Brookins, and Tanya Lopez. Over on our 5 through 8 station, Kara Mangiola, Josie Barnes, Jennifer Russo, Kayla Pashina, Jody Wessner, Giselle Paz, Jordan Richard, and Maria Jose Rodriguez. And then over on 9 and 10, Liz Culkin, Brianna Andrew, Summer Jasmine, and Maria Balanova.
I talked to Kayla Pashina earlier today, and she is fought. She's 20 weeks. 20 weeks pregnant. So she is a trooper for being out here, but this is probably going to be her last event.
And we're going to get those scoreboards up here in our featured pairs as we get underway. Once again, a long day for us here on Bowl TV, but we know you folks wouldn't have it any other way. Watching the best players in the world compete here, Matt Candizzaro, A Squad hitting the lanes here. They're essentially going to set the pace. So once again, with the format here, the top 12 will advance after A Squad and B Squad are in the books for their 9 games to match play tomorrow. So for the B Squad competitors, an opportunity to sit back, potentially a few of them in the venue watching right now, or potentially watching here on Bold TV, hopefully. But a chance for them to kind of see the scoring pace and kind of get an idea of, the number they'll have to be looking at to make a run. And Matt, I know, as a regional competitor, you're very familiar with, seeing the different type of squads and coming in on the early shift, coming in the late shift and seeing that. And, for the folks, there we go. We got some scoreboards now. For the folks coming in, what's, how anxious can you get watching scores, knowing you've gotten to see the pattern, maybe you liked it, maybe you didn't, but, what are the things you're looking for, coming in when you're on that second squad, knowing that A, you're going to have an idea of the scoring pace, and B, now you know what you need to do as well.
Well, I feel like that's the way I would prefer it, to know the number and then chase it. But at the same time, I don't know. I guess you need to think back to being in that moment. And I've had it both ways where, I was on the early squad and bowled great. I thought I was set and got the hotel. And then coming down to the last game, getting a little bit nervous, or in the other cases, I thought I was out of it completely and started driving home. And then lo and behold, made the number. But I kind of get a little bit of a rush when Pete walks by or posts a number, or now with technology, it scrolls across the bottom of the scoreboard and says, with 2 games to go, the cut is whatever it is. And, hopefully I'm above it. But more often than I would like, I'm not. So it's the rush and the push at that point, and for that 1 big game or 2 big games. And so it's a totally different mindset either way. But you go out there and you do your thing, right? It's really you against the pins, and can't worry too much about what other folks are doing or what the numbers are at that point. Your goal is to knock down all the pins every time, and if you don't, do so on the second try, or you're at a nearby restaurant with Aaron Smith doing a food challenge instead of getting ready for the finals.
Well, and in that last scenario, it sounds like everybody wins, but except the regional fee and not cashing and all that.
Yeah,
part,
if your goal is a check and a banner and maybe a PBA 300 ring, that's not it. But if you get a T-shirt for eating a giant cheeseburger, well, just you take your victories where they come.
As we settle into our first game, once again, a long block here, 9 games, a little bit different compared to what the competitors on the PWBA Tour have been used to. Over the course of the season so far, usually more common 6-game blocks. So we'll see those through the first 2 events. But as a note, live scoring is available across the house. You can find that more at pwba.com, or for those of you watching on Bowl TV, if you are in the chat right now, and you can see the tabs above the chat, the middle one will take you to a very helpful resource page with information on lane pairings, oil pattern, the roster, live scoring, and eventually results. We'll have those as well once we start getting into competition here and get some games going.
So, Aaron, I know you've watched pretty much every game of this entire PWBA Tour season, but on a scale of 1 to Nick Hoagland, how would you rate the lane conditions this year? Of course, we've seen some seasons or some portions of seasons where he was the mad scientist sitting at home, tapping his fingers, just taking pleasure in the challenge that he put forth. And then other times, of course, a little bit higher scoring. That's the sport that we compete in. And, sometimes they're going to be tougher. Sometimes they're going to be a little bit higher scoring. But no matter what, somebody has to win. Somebody's going to conquer that pattern. But overall, for the season, how would you compare this to past seasons or, past Nick Hoagland? As we see Diana roll that 10. You got to get those hits every once in a while.
Yeah, that's a great question, Matt. And once again, the 43-foot condition we're bowling on here at the Go Bowling Classic, a 40-foot drop rush, 27.15 mils. So it's a heavier or a higher volume of oil using the Kegel current oil, which is, one of their slicker oil types. So, it's going to be tough. It's essentially a 2-to-1 ratio, 2.07 to 1. Higher volume and slicker oil. We saw it yesterday. There's definitely an OB. If you get the ball away from you quickly, you might be taking 3 off the right or the left, depending on which hand you're throwing the ball with. But I think this might be a little kinder pattern for compared to some of the things we may see a little bit later in the week, at least compared to the IBC Classic pattern, which we saw yesterday, the 38-foot condition. I think with this pattern, I think everybody kind of sees that they're going to be in a particular zone to start. So I think this is going to give this pattern an opportunity to potentially get a little bit nice a little bit later in the block. It might, obviously with the 2-to-1 ratio to start, it's going to be, shot making is going to be at a premium. But I think with players probably playing a little bit closer together, it's going to have the opportunity to open up a little bit. And then, maybe toward the end of the block, it might get a little trickier if the heads start to go a little bit. But I think in general, I think this is going to be a pretty self-explanatory pattern for these competitors. They're going to know the moves, and then it's going to come down more to decision making and shot making along the way versus trying to necessarily think outside the box and try to figure out where Nick maybe built in something special that no one else has. I don't think that's necessarily here with this pattern. So I think it's probably going to be one of the less crazy patterns we've seen so far this season.
Yeah, I don't know why, but for some reason when I get to an event and I see 43 feet, it's immediate fear. I don't know if it's because I'm left-handed and that would generally dictate you need to be a little bit closer to the middle part of the lane, which is generally uncharted for us. But as we're seeing, we talked a little bit about what the plan of attack on this would be for the week. Again, on paper, you're going to want to be closer to the middle, and some of the players are really good at that, right? They're good at being in, and we see some tighter lines here early. We also thought there might be a couple of players you could get to get right and get it off the corner a little bit, and do some surface, and so curious to see when they get there. But Lindsey Boomerstein being one of the heavier-handed players. But you see here early, everybody's pretty straight and tight to the pocket. But in round 15 or so, and just again 9 games is a warlock of a block, and so very curious to see the transition and what they're able to do. Some players like Verity Crawley will be able to get left, and there'll be room to the right at that point. So do we see the scores get progressively higher as the block goes, and see some of those players who can hook it find success? And is this one of the days where again some have the track record of being able to start right, or do others move right while others are moving left at the same time? One of those weird situations where the move could actually be the opposite of what you would expect.
I also think as players, that I think that's going to be the challenge toward the end of the block as well. Once, the players are pushed a little bit farther left into the pattern. We've talked about it quite a bit already, that the carry here at the ITRC can be described as moderate to difficult from time to time, at least in my personal experiences, for sure, on lanes 1 and 2 specifically. But kind of I'm just curious, kind of toward the end of the block, if that's when it gets to those final games. If you're just taking the flat 10s, you're getting to the pocket, realizing if I catch a double this game, that's going to be all right. I'll fill my frames, make my spares, and move on from there. So I think all that's going to kind of play into everything today. But that's why we played the game then.
It's a fun game for us too, the guessing game, trying to figure it all out and sound like we know what we're doing. And we've watched thousands and thousands of bowling games, and still perplexed just about every time. But, again, it's all in the delivery, right? Just make it sound like you know what you're talking about, and somebody's going to believe you, and sometimes you're going to be right.
I never pretend like I know what's going on, because I don't.
But the good news is that being off camera like we are, nobody can see the surprise and the confusion on our faces as we deliver these messages throughout the day.
Mine is just a look of utter terror. Just utter terror.
Terror, dismay, all of it.
Yeah.
Let's see if Lindsay can get a strike here on lane 11. She hasn't missed yet on 12, and there we go.
Looks like some strikes are starting to happen a little bit.
If we had an all-tournament team from the Kickoff Classic Series, Lindsay would certainly be on it for her overall performance to kick off the year. Was one of 3 players to make the top 12 in each of the 3 events on the national tour side, and finished second at the Hall of Fame Classic. Really was an impressive performance from Lindsay overall. She's hasn't quite matched that run since on tour this season, but excited to see her back in this venue to kind of see the confidence moving into a place where she's had some success, and to see if this could be the week. We've talked about that a lot with her, and that's still on the list for her, is getting a PWBA Tour title. She's been close many times. She's made a ton of shows. Just things haven't worked out in her favor necessarily in the moment of a championship match, of a stepladder final, whatever it may be. Bold won for best games yet against Julia Bond in that situation at the Hall of Fame Classic back in January. But Julia stepped up in the 10th and, delivered a double to get the job done. And, that's when you get into those situations, those things happen. That's all you can do. But very excited to see Lindsay out there this week, see if she can match the success from earlier this season.
What player out here now is still the most surprising? I mean, with Verity winning in Nashville, obviously a player that was on the cusp so many times. As we watch her here on lane 14 coming up. What player stands out to you right now as when you hear that they do not have a PWBA title? Which one are you like, that doesn't seem right? I mean, obviously Lindsay's on that list, clearly.
I think for me, the players I'm expecting to get there at some point. Kind of the top three for me for the past few years have been Lindsay, Verity, as you mentioned. She got the title just a couple of weeks ago in Nashville, and then Sandra Gongora. I think just the physical games for those players are phenomenal, and they've been close, so they've had the experience. It's just a matter of just finally getting there, and then all of a sudden, we'll see 2, 3, 4 titles from all of them. I think once they get that first one in the books, things will start. Yeah, that's typically how it works in most sporting situations. Once you get that first one, whether it's in bowling, if it's 300, it's an 800. Once you kind of get that realization that if I can finally worry about or stop worrying about that, it seems like things just come easier. So for me, those are probably the two main players who I'm still surprised, but will not be surprised if and when they get the job done.
I agree. Those are two players that obviously have all the tools and the makeup to be PWBA champions, but it's never guaranteed, man. You look at on the men's tour, there were players that you thought should have many titles and didn't get any. A guy like Rich Wolf stands out. He looked the part. One of the most beautiful physical games you would ever see in your entire life. Just never could win. And so, there's no success is never guaranteed, no matter how good you are or how well you throw the ball. You've got to overcome a lot of other factors in order to get to that winning circle. And those are the things that the ladies battle more so than their physical games. And you really saw Verity break through, and you could see almost a physical weight be lifted off of her shoulders as she won that title. And to your point, I feel like now that she has the taste, she smells the blood in the water. I would not be surprised if she railed off another title even this week. And so I'm anxious to see her follow up her performance. Like so many other players, and wouldn't be surprised at all that bigger things are to come for her over the next couple of years. Yeah, I agree with you, Brian. She says Pluhowski. Right, Pluhowski doesn't technically have a PWBA title. Is that correct, Aaron? I believe that is correct.
No, she does have one from her win at the Queens in 2006.
Okay, but not one on the new tour.
But not one since we've kicked off. That's correct.
Okay. And I would let's throw her in that category because there's no reason it feels like there's no reason why a player of her caliber who's had so much success in so many venues and stages across her career. I feel like she should absolutely have a title to her name on the new tour.
Taking a look at live scoring across the house here. Looks like we did pick some pretty good pairs to start on. As far as scoring pace is going, it looks like these have had some of the higher scores so far as we get toward the end of game one. This is a reminder opportunity, though, for everybody watching on Facebook and YouTube. As we mentioned, we will be sending the feed exclusively to bowltv.com once we get into game number 2. So this is kind of your final opportunity to watch from those platforms in the next couple of frames. But if you want to head over to bowltv.com, we have multiple subscription options to watch wire-to-wire coverage of the 2021 Summer Classic Series, including every pair in play. So you can watch your favorite athlete literally every single game of every block that they're bowling, which is pretty neat, I'd say. Pretty awesome with the smaller venue this week. So if you head over to bowltv.com, a few of the options you'll see if you just want to watch the rest of the Go Bowling Classic, including the step ladder finals, for the live event ticket, it's going to be $8.95. If you want to watch the rest of the Summer Classic Series, so maybe you got the rest of the week off of work, you're doing cool things, you want to just sit back and watch some Bowl TV, it's going to be $19.95 for all 4 events and all 4 stepladder finals. Get to watch all the live coverage throughout the course of the week. You can go with a monthly recurring subscription for $9.95. So notice that price point with the monthly recurring. And a great opportunity with the recurring is obviously you get access to the full site, so not just the live event coverage, but that's covered there by Alexis Nyer. You get the live events as they're happening, like we're watching right now, but you also get the archived coverage and the on-demand content on the website. So it unlocks the entire site for you. And just looking at kind of the duration, if you pick up a month right now, that also gets you not only the rest of the Summer Classic Series, the PWBA Spokane Open from August 19th to the 21st, and then the U.S. Women's Open, the final major of the season, from August 24th to the 31st. So if you've been, a little hesitant to dip your toe in the water on Bowl TV, this is the time right now to check it out. You'll get those events additionally with the monthly recurring for $9.95. And then finally, the annual recurring subscription, which will take you all the way into 2022 now. $79.95, the best way to support the PWBA Tour and these great athletes out here. So 4 different price points to come in throughout the course of the week. We will have different event tickets available for each event as they come up throughout the course of the week as well. But a few different points to check out on bowltv.com. We certainly hope you swing on by, join the Bowl TV community, all the great folks in the chat. And of course, we have giveaways as well. Giveaways. Let's go. Giveaways.
It's Tabitha. Verity is using the Axiom. And making it look pretty good right now, I would say. And nice pickup there by Alexis Nyer, picking up a 2-4-10. Nice sliding it over. She's so accurate. I really appreciate. And then she's going to have an opportunity to pick up another one.
Well,
let's see if she can make it 2. But I'm very impressed with her spare game. She's not a player that's going to outstrike anybody, and that's just the convention of her game. But she stays competitive by not leaving a lot on the table, and really being a solid spare shooter. If she can figure out a couple of different tricks and maybe changing up her entry angle just a little more to maybe getting a little steeper and upping her strike percentage a little more, I think she'll be more. That is a John Madden-esque statement. If she strikes more, she'll be a better bowler. Chris, the approaches, I've noticed several bowlers with the approaches this morning kind of sliding and then, giving that look of discontent down at their shoe. I want to see if I don't know, maybe it's we've had some gully washers, as we say down in the South in Texas, come through here the last couple of days. And the humidity can always, the change in humidity is really what can get you from day to day. It's not necessarily it being humid, but when it changes from a drier humidity to a higher humidity or vice versa, it can affect the approaches pretty well.
Getting into the 10th frame here, game at number 1. Diana is going to be in the 220s. Ashley can get into the 230s. She already has 1 strike here in the 10th. Nice professional game there from Diana Z. 226 out of the gates.
Yeah, 9 counts and strikes. That's called being a pro. See if Verity can get it done here. Oh, and she tugged that one. Just got it left early. Yeah, everybody's favorite spare, 3-6-10. Dasha's going to try to bail one out here. She's going to try to turn a $150, $160 into a 190, and that'd be a victory for her if she can manage that. As she steps up on the lane 14, looking for her first double of the day, and knocks it down with the signature arm pump.
The now 4-time PWBA Tour champion.
Man, talk about a player that once she got it figured out. Once you got to figure it out, she's pretty good. Pretty good. Repeated her title. Hard to do, man. Hard to do. You enter a week and you won last time the event was there, and so there's that we talk about expectations, right? And expectations can be crushing because they creep into the back of your mind. But Dasha she made it look easy. She led a majority of the event, and just carried that momentum and bowled an incredible game against who she bowled? She bowled Shannon, right?
Missy in the final.
Oh, Missy in the final. Missy beat Shannon in the semifinal match. Again, another week where Missy so close yet so far away. There's a player that you just expect again. Once she gets over that hurdle again, I can see her having a player of the year type season, because she's in that conversation without winning a title. Imagine if she gets the job done. And Alexa's just not comfortable right now, and I think, Aaron, Matt, when you're having trouble sliding, that affects every aspect of your game. Obviously, from a timing standpoint, but it sticks in your head. You don't want to jam at the line, and so you just can't. Your swing it tightens up a lot, and you start trying to force it, and you're thinking about it, so you're just not bowling. What can she do? Maybe to change the surface of her slide shoe, or just kind of work through it. What do you do there?
Well, modern times, I think, is better for us now, right? With the interchangeable soles and heels and a million combinations of things you can do, and a lot of us will save the soles even as they get a little bit older, because you just never know. They might be a little more worn in, or you're going to encounter all kinds of environments and weather and different things. So I feel honestly that was like the biggest innovation in our sport. I know more so than bowling ball technology, almost to a point where I can't even imagine. What the folks did back in the day. Maybe they didn't have the encounter, or they didn't have the situations with the wood approaches like we do now with all the synthetics. But
they did. They bags.
The tricks. I'm sure there were many tricks, but the soles, we have piles of soles to change, and it's a mental challenge when that happens, when you don't have your footing just right. It's so important. The last thing I want to do is take a tumble, because that would be anything but graceful. But then being too slick at the same time is just as tough. So, but there's dozens of those in my bag at all times, and hopefully something I can figure out pretty quickly.
I remember back in the day, I'm your back in the day commentator, even though, my bowling history, my bowling knowledge is long, as they would say, long in the tooth. They would carry these roll-up bags, like black bags with shoe slots in them, and they would have multiple pairs of or multiple slide shoes that they could take out. You know, I remember Lynn's specifically kind of having that option where you could just like, oh, I'm going to change my shoe. And so instead of just changing the sole, they would change the entire shoe. The bottom of my slide sole looks like petrified wood. It really does. It's seen sometimes. I still, Aaron Smith, I still use Etonics. Can I even say that name on air? Yeah, a lot of the players back in the day, they did have unconventional ways to make themselves survive, and obviously, it's a lot of those you know, like putting a dash, easy slide, or different stuff like that. That has been outlawed, so to speak. But yeah, a lot of different unconventional ways.
Well, hopefully the change of scenery here to a different pair will help out Alexis in getting her footing underneath her moving forward. The good thing is she does have 8 more games to go to bounce back from that 154 in the opener. 232 for Verity Crawley, and then Dasha Kovalova got 3, could not get 4, so she's going to be in the 170s here to wrap up game 1. But folks who are watching on Facebook and on YouTube, this is us going to be saying goodbye for the time being. So please head on over to bowltv.com, pick up a subscription to watch coverage throughout the course of the day. Once again, these are 9-game blocks, so we're going to be here for a while hanging out. So you folks can join the Bowl TV community, watch the best athletes in the world compete out here on the PWBA Tour, and interact in the chat as well. So, and as we mentioned, giveaways later in the day as well, all coming up here on bowltv.com. But we're going to take a quick break to reset. So folks watching on Bowl TV, we'll be right back with game number 2. But everyone else, hang tight. And remember, on Bowl TV, bowling lives here. We'll see you soon from the Go Bowling Classic.